Today we're going to do the doodle notes on Chapter 4, Section 2 notes. So the first question we need to answer, and you just fill in the box on your page. So we're going to do the first box, number 1, how does soil form? And soil forms from broken rock. So you have this whole piece of bedrock, and over time the rock fractures, meaning it has cracks in it. Okay, and then pieces will break off. And this is the onset of the beginning of how soil forms. So it's just broken down bedrock. So what is bedrock? Bedrock is the solid layer of rock beneath the soil. Okay. So what is soil made of? Or what makes up soil? We just talked about it a minute ago, how soil is formed from bedrock, but it's also composed of organic material. So soil is made of rock. It's made from minerals like diamonds, garnet, quartz. So I'm just going to draw a picture of a gem right here. It's made from decayed plants and animals. So if I have a plant and the flower that was once here is now starting to die. So its little petals are going to turn into soil. And it's also made from decayed animals. Make a little hedgehog. It's died and he's going to decay into the soil. So there are 4 main components that define what soil is made of. We have rock, plants, animals, and minerals. So what is humus? Humus is that rich layer of decayed plant and animal or organic material. So humus is a dark, rich layer of soil. And this dark, rich layer of dirt is made from decaying plant and animals, like leaves, grasses, cut grasses, sticks, dying plants. So when all these things decompose and break down, they turn into this fine layer or this really rich layer of soil, and we call that humus. So number 5, what are soil texture and descriptions? So how do we describe the texture of the soil? And there's 4 main ways that we will describe the texture of the soil. See if I can find a dark dirt color. Okay, we could say it's coarse. So very coarse soil. We could say it's grainy. So I'm just going to put some barley or wheat representing my grainy soil, even though it's not made out of barley or wheat. We could say it's smooth. Smooth soil. Or we could say it's silky. So I'm going to represent my silky soil with a silk tie. Okay, so those are our 4 different soil textures: coarse, grainy, smooth, and silky. Next is how are soil particles classified? And we classify soil particles by size. One of our soils that we learned about is loam. And loam is another word for a type of dirt. But this particular dirt has certain characteristics. It has clay, it has parts of sand in it, and it has very fine particles of silt. So loam is going to be equal parts clay, sand, and silt, and we call this loam. Now if it has more clay, then it would be called clay loam. If it has more sand, then it would be called sandy loam. Horizons are layers of the soil that are characterized by 2 parts. These layers are broken into 2 parts: texture and color. I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. And remember, our textures are coarse, silky, grainy, and smooth. And so using these 2 things, we will define the soil layers. So next we have our horizons. What are the horizons? On the very bottom we have the bedrock. This is your bedrock. So write small so it'll fit. Then we have where the bedrock has been broken off. This is called your sea horizon. And this is weathered rock. We also call this the substratum. Then we have some bits of broken rock, but it's mixed with clay. And this is the B horizon. And then we have fine particles of soil. And this fine particle is called the A horizon, or the topsoil. The B horizon is known as the subsoil. Next we have our humus, which is very dark, rich soil. Of decayed plant and animal matter. Sorry, that's a little dark to see. And then last we have our litter. And this is the dead plant, cut grass, sticks. That are decaying and turning into humus. Now, these are our layers of the soil, but there are other things that can be found in the soil. You might find worms, you might find other bugs, that live in the soil, snakes, and these little critters are very important because they help us break down the soil and aerate the soil so that water can get in. Litter is the loose plant material. So these are things like leaves, sticks, basically nature's trash. And these things also get aided in decomposition with decomposers. And a decomposer is something that helps break down the litter, and it helps to break down the soil. And these are things like worms, fungi, and bacteria. And the last thing is, how do we classify soil? What do scientists do in order to classify a certain soil? And they'll use research, and when they classify this soil, they'll look into several things, including climate, region or area. I'm going to say area plants, so the type of common plants in the area. So area plants or common plants, climate, and composition. Like what type of minerals are in the area, what type of rocks are in the area. That's a mineral and type of rocks. And that's all for our doodle notes.